The courthouse steps were crowded that morning, filled with the low murmur of anxious voices and the sharp echo of hurried footsteps. Daniel stood near the entrance, his worn briefcase tucked under his arm, holding his young son's hand as tightly as he dared. The boy's small fingers were cold, and Daniel rubbed them gently, trying to offer comfort he barely felt himself. Today mattered more than any day before. A single decision inside those walls could decide whether he and his son would continue their life together or be torn apart. As they waited, Daniel noticed an elderly man sitting alone on a bench nearby. His coat was neatly buttoned, but his hands shook as papers slipped from his grasp and scattered across the ground. People passed without slowing down, eyes fixed on their own worries. Daniel hesitated for only a moment. He guided his son closer and knelt down, gathering the papers one by one. "Can you help me, sir?" the old man asked softly, embarrassed. "Of course," Daniel replied, offering a reassuring smile as he handed everything back. The man thanked him, his eyes lingering on Daniel's son. "Court day?" he asked. Daniel nodded, swallowing his fear. "Yes, I just want a fair chance." The man smiled gently. "Fairness begins with character," he said. Daniel didn't understand the words then, but they stayed with him. Inside the courtroom, the air felt heavy, thick with tension and unspoken judgment. Daniel sat at the narrow wooden table, his shoulders stiff, his son's presence beside him both a comfort and a reminder of what was at stake. He kept his eyes lowered as people whispered and papers shuffled, his heart pounding louder with each passing second. When the bailiff called for silence and everyone rose, Daniel looked up, and his breath caught in his throat. The judge who entered was the same elderly man from the bench outside. Now dressed in a black robe, his posture firm and authoritative, he seemed like a completely different person. Heat rushed to Daniel's face as fear crept in. He wondered if his small act of kindness had looked foolish, or worse, desperate. As the hearing began, accusations filled the room. Daniel listened quietly as his character was questioned, his life reduced to cold statements and legal language. When it was his turn to speak, he stood slowly, his hands shaking. He didn't try to sound perfect. He spoke of long nights, hard choices, and loving his son more than anything else. The judge listened without interruption, his expression calm and unreadable, as if weighing something deeper than facts alone. The courtroom fell silent as the judge leaned forward, folding his hands on the bench. Daniel felt his chest tighten, bracing himself for whatever words would follow. When the judge spoke, his voice was steady, carrying a quiet authority that filled the room. He spoke about responsibility, about consistency, and about the difference between words spoken under pressure and actions taken when no one is watching. Then the judge looked directly at Daniel. "This morning," he said, "I watched a father stop to help a stranger without knowing who that stranger was. He did not ask for recognition, nor did he seek advantage. He simply acted with kindness." Murmurs rippled through the courtroom as realization dawned. The ruling came clearly and without hesitation. Full custody was granted. Daniel's legs nearly gave way as relief washed over him. His son clung to him, and Daniel held him tightly, breathing in the moment he had feared losing forever. As the room emptied, the judge passed by and paused briefly. "Never underestimate what kindness reveals about a person," he said quietly. Outside, sunlight broke through the clouds. Daniel stepped down the courthouse stairs with his son in his arms, knowing that a simple act of compassion had changed their lives forever.